नमस्ते, तपाईँलाई स्वागत छ। यो नयाँ एपिसोडमा मसँग आज हुनुहुन्छ सीमा कोल्छा नेपालदेखि। उहाँ भेन्ट्रिलोक्विस्ट भएर प्रस्तुत गर्दै आउनुभएको छ आफूलाई, हास्य कलाकार गत दशकदेखि। आज उहाँको जीवनीको बारेमा केही कुरा थाहा पाऊँ। तपाईँलाई स्वागत छ सीमाजी। नमस्ते सीमा दिदी।
नमस्ते जग्गुदी।
काठमाडौँमा चिसो निकै बढेको छ अहिले।
ओहो, अहिले दुईटा हिटर अन गरेर राखेको छु मैले, सो द्याट्स वाइ आइ एम कम्फर्टेबल विदाउट वेयरिङ अ ज्याकेट।
अहिले कस्तो भइरहेछ लकडाउनमा?
मलाई एकदमै रमाइलो भइरहेछ। जुम सोज गरिरहेको छु।
जुम सोज, राइट। सीमाजीलाई इन्ट्रोड्युस गर्नुहुँदाखेरि उहाँ नेपालमा पहिलोचोटि पनि इन्ट्रोड्युस भेन्ट्रिकुलिजम नेपालमा। यो भनेको के हो त? धेरै मानिसलाई त थाहा पनि हुँदैन कि आई हेभ सिन सीमा इन डिफरेन्ट सोज and I have seen her characters and how they talk, and I was so impressed and I wanted to learn more about her. I watched your TED Talk and it is very impressive that you have performed in New York as well, and you have shared your stays with other legends. So can you tell us more about you?
Yes, so you did not pronounce the word properly, which a lot of people mispronounce it. It's not ventriculism, it's ventriloquism. And what I do is I throw voice, I make random things talk. Like, for example, I will make this water bottle talk. No. No. Hello? Hello? Oh, I'm going to drink you. No, got children. So yeah, that's what I do. So yeah, that was a water gig. The water bottle, I make anything talk. But I have a friend right here. He is, I'll just give you a background about him. He's old and he's rude because he's had some issues in the past, like drugs, rehab. Oh, cut the crap and get me out of here, okay? So yes, this is Jack Deniers. What, have you gone crazy? No, I haven't gone crazy. You're talking to a computer. Look, no, I'm not talking to a computer. See, we have somebody sitting right here. What, you're talking to her? Yes, she's sitting in a box. Yes, she's sitting in a box, and that is the new normal. What is the new normal? So what we do is we all chat in Zoom boxes. We all sit in our respective boxes. Even when you're alive, yeah. Even when you're alive, we sit in our boxes, and we're all really dressed up, waist up and waist down. Nothing, no, not nothing. We do wear clothes. Donald Duck did that, right? I heard it was in fashion. Donald Duck, yeah, he did that way before it was in fashion. Yeah, what did he do? He wore a jacket on top and raised down. Nothing. Okay. But what happens is this is a podcast. What is a podcast? So we have Dr. Jagdamba Pandit here. And she looks like Jagudi. Yeah, same thing. Jagudi is Dr. Jagdamba Pandit. Woo-hoo! How you doing, Jagudi? She's not talking to me. Yeah, she's not talking because she's kind of amazed at how you are speaking. Really? Yeah, of course. She's a psychiatrist. She knows what I'm thinking. Do you know what I'm thinking, Jagudi? Do you know?
What do you want to know?
Do you know what I'm thinking? What's in my mind right now?
It is tough to answer.
Ah, look at that. I have special powers too. You have special powers, yeah? Okay, what is your special power? I can tell just by looking at the person if he's lying or not. Okay, wow. Just by looking at a person, you can tell if he's lying or not. Yeah. Okay, fine. Can you tell me, is Jagudi lying? No, she's sitting. Okay, very funny. I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, so that's what we do. We keep having fun. Can I go now? Yeah, I think you can go now. We are done. Hi, Jagudi. Adi Dak. Okay, fine. That's what I do. Yes, I'm a ventriloquist and I throw voice.
Wow, it didn't happen overnight. It took years of training.
Absolutely, and it is self-training. So it took years to build this character and this. I'm still learning. I'm still training because I do sometimes move my lips, and it is difficult to throw voice, but it's a lot of fun.
How was it? You were born in India. You moved to Nepal after you got married.
Yes.
So how has it been being a daughter, daughter-in-law, wife, mom, and to current days?
Oh, it's a long story. How much time do we have?
A little bit, yes.
Okay. So, yeah, born and brought up in Bombay, arranged marriage. My parents saw a good boy for me, and I met him for an hour and I got married. He agreed, I agreed, like idiots. But yeah, I've been married 26 years now. So I've lived in Nepal more than I've lived in Bombay. And for those who are calculating, don't worry, I'm in my late 40s. That's why she called me Jagudi and she called me Simadi and I call her Jagudi. So yeah, because she's a universal Didi, although right now I'm the Didi here.
Thank you.
And then I got married. I I live in a joint family, not lived, I still live in a joint family with 15 of us. And as a housewife for the longest time, I did try to work. I did try to get in my husband's business and I tried to help him with his IT. Somehow it just did not, I didn't feel like I belonged there until slowly one day comedy happened. That too, that happened because of this club. It's an international club, public speak, where you learn how to do public speaking. And I joined because a friend kind of forced me into it, and I was like, okay, I will join just for your sake for a few months, but I plan to leave it because I don't think I'll ever need to address an audience. Being a housewife, I mean, why am I ever going to stand on stage and talk to an audience? So, I mean, with that set of mind, I didn't want to stick to the club, but then somehow when this comedy happened, we planned to do a showcase event, and then we said, comedy garnu pocha. I said, "Huncha, let's try." And Tubela, I said, okay, I want to try something nobody has tried ever. This was the first time I attempted was in 2011. And that's when I ordered this puppet online, and we kind of, a lot of people didn't know what ventriloquism is, so they were not sure about if I should do it or not. But then I did. And I knew that either I would create history or I would become history. Because it's very difficult to make people believe that this is another guy, and that to grown-ups.
Mm-hmm.
And I got him on stage. Of course, I mixed voices that time. There were times when I was moving my lips. There's a lot of faux pas that I did as a ventriloquist, but that is the moment I realized that this is what I want to do. As Mark Twain says, that the two most important days of your lives are one, when you were born, and two, when you find out why. And that day I found out why I was born. I was like, okay, my God, this is what I didn't know how I would do it because there was no comedy scene in Nepal that time, but I did it. And yes, it was very gradual because I was still a housewife and I was still a mother and still a daughter-in-law. And so it was very gradual. Yeah.
You said interestingly, you met your husband just for an hour and you're happily married for 26 years. Did I hear that right? Happily married?
Yeah, being happily married is really easy, they say. My granny told me this. It's just the first 40 years which are challenging. So yeah, I'm still getting there. True.
So how has it been from Kathmandu to Mumbai to New York to all around the world in past year? You have traveled almost anywhere.
Yes. So what happens now is whenever I travel, even if it's for a holiday or for weddings, I don't know, somehow I try to get a spot in a local club, or whenever they have open mics, I will just search it up. I look for comedians online, local comedians online, and I will try and perform. In India, I've been performing regularly, like as professionally since the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to the US, it was my daughter's spring break. And I realized that I could go anywhere in the US. And through Canvas Laugh Club India, I got a spot in Gotham Comedy Club in New York. And this was a fresh talent show where there were about 15 participants. And each of them, all Americans, each of them got about 6 minutes. I got 8 because I was a traveling comic, and I was the only ventriloquist. I went there, I performed in my this accent, half Indian, half Nepali, and with Jack, and I don't know what accent he has. It's kind of British, and I was appreciated there. The manager called me, and the owner and the producer, they all had their different opinions about me, and they said your art is good, your technique is good, your jokes are good. So, and a couple of suggestions also, but that felt really good. And just when I was feeling like on top of the world in that show, Jerry Seinfeld and Jay Leno walked in as surprise guests. First, it was Jay Leno, so I was already in my, the jaw-dropping, eye-popping moment. And then it was Jerry Seinfeld, and this on the same platform, the same stage, same show. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? So yeah, and then I now then traveled once to Thailand, and I've done spots in the US, in Bangkok, and recently I went to Dubai for a holiday. Somehow managed to get a spot there. That was just
It was a
amazing.
live in person in Dubai. I saw that. I follow you through social media, and anyone who is watching this show, you can follow Seema Golcha through Insta, Twitter, and a Facebook, right? There's a page as well. So how was it like in Dubai? Is there a difference that you saw after a long time of several months of gap, like being a virtual show all to a live?
Of course, because the last 9 months or 10, I've just been performing on Zoom. The first 1 month of COVID, nothing has happening. It's just a Zoom happened after 1 month. And then I've been regularly performing on spots and open mics and closing acts on Zoom. So I'm so used to performing in my pajamas and writing my script right here. So I have my script here. Now what I realize is on stage, you have to actually memorize your script. That is a big difference. And you have to dress up well, like not just waist up fully, including shoes and all. And I'm not used to wearing shoes, just wearing sneakers and, flip-flops. But the feeling of being on stage is just uncomparable. It's the adrenaline that you have, and they have live shows since I think the last 1-2 months.
Mm-hmm.
There are tables in a huge hall with social distant tables. So if you're a family of 4 or friends of 6 or a group, so all groups are sitting, but really distant. So that was comfortable. It didn't feel like threatening. And even the stage, the mics was sanitized. The audience was, of course, very international. So that was another kind of an experience. But overall, I had 7 minutes to open up another show. I was doing an opening act because usually traveling comics in Dubai need permit. And I did try to get permit and all that. But anyway, somehow it happened because it was an opening act and it was a private show. So I was like, okay, wow. And I did it. It was so much fun.
Except with the wider audience around the room, you have to scream louder.
The mic worked. The sound system was really good there. Of course, it was Dubai, and yeah.
So it's kind of do you see a difference between a local audience versus international audience? Like India, Nepal, there's a difference between the US or UK or Africa or Australia or everywhere in the world. Do you find a difference? Do people get jokes quicker, or is there any difficulties there?
I kind of handpick my jokes according to the audience. Uh-huh. So if I'm doing an international show or for an international audience, I will have a very general topic like marriage, or it won't be local. So that is something I have learned. And I also do kids shows. So when I do shows for kids, it is completely different script. And I have to completely change my mind, that I have to get into a frame of mind where I can't even use words like stop it, you idiot, or if it's too younger kid, because I don't want to be funny with those words, Mm-hmm. So I try to, and also at the same time, I don't want to educate them, because once you start doing that, somehow they lose interest, I feel. I'll entertain them. So I have a lot of interactive question answers, trivia, jokes for kids. So yeah, knowing your audience is a very important thing. And my jokes are kind of, most of them are 80%, I would say, is very international. So I can just, mix around depending on my time and my spot and my audience. I would change my jokes accordingly. Yeah. And it comes across differently, as in sometimes I don't deliver the same joke properly. So I may not get a laughter. And sometimes the audience is, takes time to understand also. So I have to kind of repeat my joke because there are times when Jack is not very clear. But yeah, I improvise on stage also.
There is not always a set script. You have to modify according to the need as
Not so
well,
much,
right?
because I do have some jokes which I think I will do, but there are times when I forget those jokes and I will say something else. So it's not a full set script
It's
ever for me.
it's a lot to remember, and at the same time, with you might get distracted here and there. There's a loud cough or a smile or laughter, or you might not get the response. Like if there's a silence in the audience, how do you deal with it? How does that make you feel?
So there are times when there is a like absolute silence in the audience. Initial the initial part of my show, usually people are quiet. I don't get laughters. It's because people are trying to comprehend what is happening. Where is the sound coming from? Is it pre-recorded? I do get this a lot when people ask me, was this pre-recorded? How did you make this thing talk? And obviously I take it as a huge compliment. And there are times when I am also, I have my headset. I have my mic. If I do a proper long show, half an hour show, 1 hour show, I'll have my mic. So then it's easier to talk to the puppet.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a stand mic, that's another challenge. I have to look at the mic even when talking to Jack and even when Jack is talking. I cannot just look at him, turn around, because then my voice will be distorted or it won't come clearly. So yeah, that when there's silence, Jack takes over. And there have been times when people have told me that Jack is a lot more confident than I am. In fact, I'm nervous on stage, but he's not. So he just says something and makes up for the silence, and then I'll get a laughter. Yeah.
How was it like the first time getting in the stage versus now? Is it the same feeling each time, like heart beating fast, or how?
So if you have watched this movie, Zindagi Milegi Na Dobara, and every time you do something like a skydiving or a deep sea diving, you know, the entire world stops around you and all you can hear is that heartbeat, tuk, 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 tuk. That's what happens to me before going up on stage. I'm a nervous wreck. You can't imagine how I am. But once I'm up on stage and I have Jack as my alter ego who takes over, somehow he helps me overcome my fear. I know it's weird because it is me at the end of the day. But yeah, that fear is always there. And I realized that even in this lockdown, even on Zoom show, I had that fear. And sometimes I feel that fear is good. It keeps you on your toes. It won't make you complacent and somehow I feel it makes you overconfident if you don't have that fear or that rush inside you. So the fear is good. And how do I overcome it? Even I'm still learning. I honestly, if I have a long break, even in a Zoom show, the the fear that happened like with my first show, it comes back. So the trick of idea is to get on stage as much as possible, to speak as much as possible. Just go for it. Sometimes it can be really soul crushing. Each time you will feel that, okay, maybe I could have done this better. Not maybe, I could have done this better. Well, that's a good thing because that will make you better. If you think, oh, this was perfect, I like it was nothing, like it was ultimate, somehow you'll become complacent. So after every show I feel, I think I could have done better. I should have done this joke.
That's
And
the
it's
way you improve and continue to grow as well. It's you are accountable just for yourself about your own acts and
you are your worst critic. You will never appreciate the way people do. And sometimes people are just nice to you on the face, but you know how you've done. So that balance has to come from you. I mean, you have to learn how to handle that.
but you at the same time you are your best supporter as well. You cannot always criticize all the time too. There are times that you are your best friend too, right?
Of course, because how else would I go up on stage and do this? And it's the most difficult thing to do is make people laugh. You can make people cry very easily, but to try to make them laugh. And when people have paid for your show, they're like, they come up on chair and they say, okay, let's see, what have you got? Make me laugh. They might have that attitude. So it is daunting. It is, and it's also your responsibility to be able to make people laugh. So sometimes when you don't do that, you feel, you start questioning yourself. Why are you here? I start questioning my very existence. But you have to come out of that, and you have to be positive again, and like next time, bring it on. Let's see what you've got. Yeah. So every
How
show is.
it is soul crushing to not have the silence. There will be times that you question yourself or have sleepless night, or that keeps you awake at night. Like, what can I have done better? Or how has it been? Your husband is your biggest supporter, uh,
Yes, of
and he
course.
watches most of your shows and gives you a valuable opinion about
Initially,
it.
yes, initially he always was there as my support system, my checking, helping me out with everything.
Mhm.
And also because the shows were mostly in Nepal. It's only when I started taking it out eventually, and when he couldn't make it. Initially, he traveled with me also, and then one he knew, like, okay, she's good now to go on a road, kind of a thing. But yeah, he's always been super supportive, and also being a Toastmaster, you learn how to evaluate as a speaker and as an audience. So he's also a Toastmaster,
Mhm.
and he would tell me, this was these were your strengths, but this is where you could have improved, or you should have done to make it a more impactful session or an act. And I would take that. Sometimes I would, and sometimes I would not, because I had to be convinced whether I could do it better,
Mhm.
the particular joke or something. Because sometimes if somebody tells me to do this joke, I will not be able to do it. It has to be mine. It has to be me. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, it has. You
If
have to be
somebody else
owner
is
the
doing
show.
it, you find it funny, I find it funny, but I will not be able to pull it off because this is yours. This is you.
Right.
So it's difficult to manage that. So I will take feedback, but only if I'm convinced and if it is me. Yeah.
In our society, even still, the comedy scenarios is changing among youth. It's very popular, but in our generation, it's not as accepted. And especially being a female comedian, when you spill this news that hey, I want to do this for quite a bit of time or rest of my life, um, it's not as respected or not accepted as a culture and a society. How did you dealt with that? Was there a lot of questioning or criticism about, hey, why should you do it? You have a happy life, you have a good husband, successful husband, and you don't have to do anything if you. How was that?
When I started it, I didn't think of it as taking it up professionally. I was literally doing one show a year or less.
Mm-hmm.
During the earthquake, there were it was 2 years when I didn't do any, when I did not step up on stage. So it was so gradual. And every show, like let's start with my in-laws. I had my in-laws come up for my shows just to show them that, well, this is what I do. And they loved it. They were all super supportive. When I went to Bombay, I asked my mother, do you want to come for my show? And she's like, what do you go on stage? What do you do? I said, I make people laugh. And to make her understand that concept, how it works, I said, you come watch me. Just don't sit anywhere in the front. Sit right at the back in the dark where I can't see you, but you'll get it. So she saw it and she was convinced and she was like really happy because there's nothing wrong that I'm doing. And in fact, it's a very mobile thing, I would say, that comedians are doing all over the world. It's not respected, yes, because if somebody wants to call you for a corporate gig or something, they'll be ready to pay a musician. But a comedian, they will not yet want to pay. I don't know, somehow the respect has not come yet. And it's a very young profession. I agree. A lot of kids, I would say kids, I mean, younger generation in their late teens or early 20s are going for it. And some of them are really good. And the level of confidence is like mind blowing. I wish I had half the confidence the generation has now.
But
But
at the
it
same
is
time,
challenging.
it is having the level of confidence in the younger generation is not having that insight how what are things that you have to improve closes them up as well. There is about the feedbacks and what they can improve. But it was interesting how your family and what did your children think about your new career?
So I have a daughter and I have a son. Daughter is 23, son is 18 now. Well, I asked my son like about a year ago, 2 years ago, when I started this, 2.5 years ago. I asked him, "So, what do you think of me doing comedy, traveling, going up on stage, and performing?" So, he speaks very less. He's a man of few words. So, what he told me was just two words. I feel I'm surprised and I'm proud. And that felt amazing because usually it's a parent's thing to be proud of the child, and this was like reverse, and I'm like, oh my god, my kids are proud of me. So that felt really good. And yes, I've performed in his school also. My daughter has come for my shows, my son has attended. They're both very proud of me, of what I'm doing, because finally this is something I love doing, and it makes me happy, and overall then everyone around me is happy. So it just works. Yeah.
I'm very thankful that you continue to emphasize like you need to dream and you have to work harder to get to your dream. Anyone who listens to your show or your TED talk or your performance, when we watch it, it looks like you're so natural. There's no made up things. You say straight up what's in real life and how you're a 14-year-old kid. Okay, you complete your education, you get married, and that's all you'll end. That is the end of it. But again, you continue to try. This is not it. This is not it. I need to move forward. I need to do something for myself, and in the process you're able to bring everyone along with you.
Yeah, so the thing is, I did not have a dream, to be honest. It wasn't like, okay, comedy is something what I want to do. I mean, it was always my thing. I was always the funny one in a group or in the family, cracking jokes all the time. But to take the same thing up on stage is frightening. It's not easy to make 100 people laugh at a time. So I took that up. I just took up the challenge. Like they say, always they keep saying, you should face your fears. And that once you do it, that feeling, that exceptional feeling of, of achievement or a fulfillment that you get, it's just uncomparable. So I would just tell everybody to keep trying things. Keep trying. Like when I joined Toastmasters, I had no idea where it would take me, which direction. No idea, no clue. I didn't have a dream. Once I did it, then it became a dream. And then I was like, okay, I want to do it. I don't know how. So then initially we would even create our comedy scenes like a show in Kathmandu, starting from deciding the venue, the number of people, selling tickets, designing the tickets, the logistics, the sponsors, everything we would do as 3, 4 comedians would get together. And that would take time, but that also taught me a lot of things about how to produce also. We had to produce our own shows. So it was difficult, but just stick to it. Just keep at it. If you are not convinced yourself, nothing in the world will be able to help you. Firstly, you have to be convinced that you can do this. Once you have decided, then you just go all out.
It's with anything in life. How do you come up with materials? How do you write them? Or
I'm generally funny and I love to pun. I don't know, do you know what puns are? It's just basically play with word. I'm a compulsive punner to the extent that I wanted to be an entrepreneur in life. That is my Twitter handle. And I start a company because I'm very funny. And that's what I do. And I'm funny in the sense I just make up instant, and I don't think about who I'm talking to. I'll just say a random joke to anybody. I'll say anything to anyone, even when the first time I meet somebody. I've done that when I was introduced to somebody recently, not recently, it's been a while. I said, oh, this guy's a web designer. And I was like, hi, Spider-Man, how are you doing? It took me a while to understand web designer, Spider-Man. And then I waited. I was like, okay, get there sooner, get there. And then I got a good laugh. So, and then he remembers me. I forgot his name, but he remembers me. So yeah, things like that. So and material is around you all the time. It's everywhere. If you're married, you have material. If you're not married, you have material. If you have kids, oh my God, you have a lot of material. If you are working, there's material at workplace. There's material in your pets. You just have to find funny in everything around you. and just work at it. Right.
So it's like, isn't that what you said? You wanted to be a cartoonist, so you had started collecting funny proverbs or funny jokes since you were a kid, and you refer to them often. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a thing for one-liners and quotes forever. Ever since I was 10, I used to collect liners, and back then there was no internet and there was nothing. I mean, where do you get quotes from? So I had Reader's Digest. Uh, Most of you won't even know what it is. I had the Times of India every Sunday would have one segment in a corner with just quotes. And I would handpick only the good ones, not like just write everything that there is, only which I like. So, yeah, I have 5 books now. I write. I am a very paper pen person. I'm not a very typing kind of a person. So I write and I have so many books of one-liners. So somehow that also stays with me and I make it my own. I kind of try and put it in a conversation or not try and I don't know, somehow my memory is very good when it comes to jokes. But when it comes to people and a lot of other things, it's really bad. So it's selective memory also.
How do you choose which characters? Like you have quite a few number of characters.
Yeah.
Jack Denials,
Yes.
and there is Bize, there is Baba Kabush, the snail. I see those characters, and how do you come up with those? And different characters have their own personalities and how they perform, and it's a comedy is a reflection of our society too. It's an easier way. People are more receptible without offense. They accept the defects and flaws or the things that we can improve. We can easily say in our pitch, like in the comedy. And people make laugh out of it. And oh yeah, that's the truth. Like you cannot say that straight up. How do you choose the characters?
So the Jack Denials. Yes, you're talking about me. Yes, I'm talking about you. He has been with me all throughout for shows that I do for 18 plus or 16 plus. His character I built up really well. I already have his story. Like he had a very sad childhood. Marriage was failure. Everything he did was bad. So that makes him very interesting and rude. And he tells anything to anyone, he can get away with it. Yeah, that's what you say. Yeah. Okay. Then I have Baba Ganush. I'm still working on him. What happens is all these puppets are not comfortable to work with in hand. Some are very hard or some are very loose or they're not comfortable on the hand and the hand hurts. Mm-hmm. It really hurts. So it takes a while. And also, I don't have that many voices yet. I have not yet developed. I have one for Granny. There's this old lady who I call Granny, and she has a different accent, different voice, different attitude towards life. Mm-hmm. So, but that again is also very tiring. If I take her for more than 5 minutes, it hurts. The hand really hurts. So I am developing slowly. I have a lot of different puppets for kids shows. Like I have a monkey, which is called Darwin. He is again a huge character with his arms around me and his legs also go around me. If I go to a hot place, I'd be sweating because it's like wearing a jacket all over. He's so furry. And then there's a Snowy, which is a small little half puppet, which is a white dog. And there are toucans. I have 2 birds, and I've tried 3 voices and 3 puppets at the same time. And I have been able, just for 2 minutes, but I've been able to pull it off, which is, I think, I'm quite proud of. And yeah, the puppets, it's something I have to develop yet.
So in last year, you have done so many shows around the world, including a fundraising shows to different charities. That's how I met you first time, was we did for Nepal Youth Foundation, this for feeding young new malnourished children in Nepal. This is an organization that has been serving in Nepal for the last 35 years. And we wanted to do something during this COVID era, and we did it together. So where else have you done the Zoom shows in last year?
That was initial Zoom days when we did a show together. Mm-hmm. I have literally traveled all over the world through Zoom. done a show in Japan, in Nairobi. I've done birthday parties. I've done anniversaries, like 40th, 50th anniversaries for friends' parents and all. And I have even judged a Miss Universe Nepal pageant as a Toastmaster, which was an amazing experience.
Wow.
What else have I done? I've done fundraiser for Rotary, for Roundtable, Ladies Circle. So yeah, it's been amazing. It's just you're sitting at home and you're all over the world. Some platforms which I would never have thought of performing on otherwise, but because of Zoom, I was able to do it.
And it's financially feasible too, without
Exactly.
spending money.
Yeah, they don't have to pay the artist for their travel, for their stay, which usually they have to.
Mm-hmm.
But this has been convenient, and to be able to make people laugh through these boxes in their houses in these serious, unprecedented times, it's difficult, but it's a great feeling to be able to do that.
You said something about when you moved to Nepal about 26 years ago, there wasn't even a Miss Nepal. I don't remember. I think it was started in 98 or something. The first Miss Nepal was 1996 or 98. It wasn't started, but now it has changed so much in past 2 decades. What's the difference that you see? Nepal, now it feels home. Nepal is home for you. So do you see a difference between the society back then and now? It has grown so much.
Yeah, of course. Nepal is, I would say, one of the very most progressive countries in this part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
It has improved in the sense, the level of confidence. The way when I was judging the girls, the participants in this pageant, this is the first Miss Universe Nepal pageant, which means all Nepalese citizens from all over the world could participate, not just in Nepal. So there were participants from Belgium, from the US, from Canada, from Moscow. So it was an amazing experience, and they all spoke so well. The amazing thing now is when the girls are participating in this pageant, what happens is usually they talk about what they are going to do, what they will do once they become, right? Here, most of them were already doing something, already a part of an NGO, already serving the society. So I think they're all winners in their own rights. It was just amazing. I felt bad to actually even judge them because I'm like, who am I to judge? They're all so good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the toughest part is, yeah. And how has it been, you being a wife of us, and your husband has achieved so much in his business and that world? You have been by his side, and as he is supportive to you, you had been supportive to him. Has his work or your relationship, as we age together, we grow bond even stronger? How has it been?
It's been very good because we respect each other's space, and there is kind of an unspoken understanding. You kind of understand each other, so there's so many things you don't even need to say it just goes without saying. So we found this balance somehow. Obviously it doesn't mean that we don't fight and all, we still get on each other's nerves. I find so many things irritating, and I irritate him to no extent, but then that's all a part of growing up. And like I said, the first 40 years are challenging. So in a marriage, so I'm just waiting
14 more
for
years.
the 40 years to get over.
Yeah. So
Yes.
can we invite Jack Denials again?
Yes, absolutely. What, you guys forgot me?
Almost.
Hello. You know, my internet connection is unstable. Oh, just like your marriage. Not like my marriage. Okay. So, Jagrati, you have questions, honey? Yes, she has questions for you.
Tell me about yourself a little bit.
What? What does she want to know? Okay, you want to tell us why are you called Jack Denials? Because I like to be in high spirits. High spirits? Yeah. For that, you have to be called Jack Daniels, not Jack Denials, okay? Oh, so why are you called Jack Denials? Because I'm Jack and you live in denial. No, I don't live in denial. Look where your hand is.
time. It just hurts too much.
Okay.
You know, your nails are too long.
My nails are not so long.
No, idiot. In this hand, your nails are too long.
Okay. Fine.
So did you wash your hands before doing this?
Of course I washed my hands.
Did you sing happy birthday to you before doing this?
No, I did not sing happy birthday to you when washing hands.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So, yes, what do you want to tell everybody about you?
I don't know. I had a very sad childhood.
Oh, you had a sad childhood?
Yeah.
You want to tell everyone that now?
Yeah.
Okay, why do you say that?
Because I was a stillborn.
Stillborn?
Yeah.
What do you mean stillborn?
My parents didn't want me, still I was born.
Your parents didn't want you, still you were born?
Yeah, they get it.
Okay, fine, so that's about it.
What else you want to know?
Jack Denials, apart from staying beside Seema, what else do you do? What are your hobbies?
I watch films.
You watch films?
Yeah.
What kind of films?
Horror films.
Horror films?
Yeah.
What do you mean horror films?
You know, the film of my wedding?
The film of your wedding?
Yeah, so scary, right? I get goosebumps when I see this.
Okay, you got goosebumps.
But when I'm really sad, I watch it backwards.
When you're sad, you watch it backwards?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
She gets it. Look, she's laughing.
No, she's not laughing.
She walks away. Happy ending.
It's time for us to leave. You want to leave your audience or the viewers with a message?
No.
Come on, say something.
Something.
I want you to say something like a good message.
Okay.
Fine, go on, say.
Whatever you do, give your 100%, always.
Okay, nice. Whatever you do, give your 100% always.
Yeah, except when you're donating blood.
Except when you're donating blood.
Yeah, don't give your 100% then.
Okay, fine. Well, that's all from us. Jackie gotta go.
Bye, guys. See you later. Happy 2021.
Bye.